The bug of teaching started very early when I was like in elementary school. I would put like little like, make little postcards and for my neighborhood, like the neighborhood kids to come to my backyard, and I would play teacher, and so that type of like,
Wow.
yeah, that type of vibe, and entrepreneurship also, because they had to pay me, like so like all of that, like I think that bug of that was already there. And then yeah, and I at some point I was in high school, and my mom said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to make people famous. Wherever that came from, I don't even know. But I
Wow.
started saying that, and I ran with it. And I thought I was going to do a double major in music and business, which is impossible. There's no way you can double major in music. Music is like, it's a lot of people don't know that it's a very, very difficult major. So you could barely even minor, so
Mm.
yeah, so then I did it, and then it kind of just went that route. Yeah.
Right. And so
So
you ended up getting your bachelor's degree in music education from Florida International University,
yes.
right? But then you got your master's from Nova Southeastern University in entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So you did end up doing what it was you wanted to do.
Right. And I didn't know fully it was going to go in that direction, because at some point too, I thought I was going to get my master's in music education. And then somewhere down the line, I started a company with a friend of mine. We started a music school. And in the middle of that, I was like, well, I'm going to go get my master's, and I'm going to get an MBA. I'm going to earn an MBA. So,
Mm.
I did, and it was through running Miami Elite Music School, the school that comes to you. So at that, because I had
Hey.
there was no overhead. Like I couldn't afford an overhead at that point. So I hired all of my friends from college. I hired my friends, and I hired them to go to all of these like different houses. to,
Wow. How old were
so
you?
I was 23. I was 23.
Mm.
Yeah, I was 23. And yeah, so I gave them all jobs. I was paying them $40 an hour, like it was it was pretty good, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And at the time I wasn't teaching, I was just running the company. Yeah. And then we had a recital, and I knew that I wanted to be the face of like teaching voice. I was like kind of losing my way a little bit, and I felt like I wanted to be the face of teaching voice.
Mm.
And I sold basically like the students to the teachers, and I started fresh. And my friends thought I was crazy. They're like, you're going to give up clarinet and violin and all of these things just to do voice. And I was like, yeah, that's my passion. That's what I said I always wanted to do. And Alvin, it was like 3 to 4 months, my profit had tripled.
See, and this is something that I want to put out there to young entrepreneurs or anybody who's looking to make a leap into business for themselves, because I went through this too, where I was working part-time as a comedian. I wanted to be full-time, but I was also holding on to a job with the airlines. And I was
Right.
like, if I have a part-time job with them, I'll still have some money and I can do comedy part-time. But I want to make the jump full time. The only way you're going to be able to make that jump is to actually make a jump.
Right.
I got rid of the airline job, and I had to have the belief that that time that I spent on the airline, now that it's free, would get filled with the other half of the part-time comedy work that I was doing, and I would become full-time. But you have to make that leap. Even if people think that you're crazy,
Right.
you have to give yourself an opportunity to have that triple profit that you had. Would not have happened if you didn't go, okay,
Right.
I'm gonna put my all into this because this is what I want
Absolutely.
to do. You gotta jump.
Absolutely. And it's not like it wasn't scary. I mean, like, you know,
Right.
during that time, when I tell people this, they're just like, what? Like during that moment, honestly, Alvin, I didn't even know if I didn't even have money to put gas in my car. Like I
Mm.
really had nothing, like during that transition.
Right.
the starting the company and stuff before that was doing fine. But during that transition, like, it was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Like, yeah, there's so many other layers to that, but like, it was like, I was like, what is happening? But then within those 3 months, like, I kept with it, yeah. And it worked out.
I mean, and tell me if this happened for you, because this happened for me. I felt like being broke actually fueled my hunger to make this work no matter what.
Yeah.
And I feel oftentimes if we have savings and have a nest egg and then try to venture out, it's like, well, I got that savings and nest egg from the safe job. So I don't know if I really want to go that far out, because this was so comfortable. I think when you're backed into a corner, it forces the best out of you.
Right.
If you're going to follow it, it's like, no, this has to freaking work.